Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another story time. Tonight, we're reading a story that was featured in a very famous film named Lilo and Stitch. That's right, this is the tale of the Ugly Duckling. Now, this story may have been told many different ways, many different times. Tonight, I'll be reading a version that's close to the childhood classic. If you've never heard this story before, you might want to prepare some tissues because while it has a happy ending, it does make your heart hurt just a little bit. But don't worry, everyone will turn out okay. Just like you. Times might be hard right now, but you're going to be okay. So please pull up a chair, grab your coziest blanket and slippers, and settle down for the tale of the ugly duckling. Once upon a time, a mama duck sat on her nest like she did every spring. How long must I wait for my babies to hatch? I have to sit here all by myself. But what could she do? A mama duck must keep her eggs warm until they hatch. One day, the eggs at last began to crack. One yellow duckling stepped out of its shell, then another and another. Each little chick shook its wings. Quack, 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 they chirped. Look at you, cried the mama duck with joy. You're all so cute. Quack, 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 they said with pride. Come and line up, said Mama Duck. We will go down to the lake for your very first swim. She counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh dear, she said with a frown. I had 6 eggs. I should have 6 ducklings. One large egg was still in the nest. Well, said Mama Duck, it looks like that big egg will take more time. So she went to sit on her nest again and waited some more. The next day, the big egg began to hatch, and out popped a little boy bird. My goodness, how different this one looked. He was larger than all of the little yellow ducklings. And he was not yellow at all, but a dark gray all over. After he stepped out of his egg, he walked with a funny wobble. One of the yellow ducklings pointed and laughed. What is that? He can't be one of us. I've never seen such an ugly duckling, laughed another. How can you say such a thing? Said Mama Duck in a stern voice. You are only 1 day old. Your brother hatched from the very same nest you did. Now line up. We will go to the lake for your very first swim. All the way, the other ducklings quacked. Ugly quack, ugly quack, ugly quack. The ugly duckling did not know why the other ducklings were yelling at him. He fell behind to take the last spot in line. When they got to the lake, each yellow duck jumped in and swam behind Mama Duck. When it was his turn, the ugly duckling jumped in too, and he started to paddle. Well, at least I could swim. Well, at least he can swim, Mama Duck thought to herself. When the yellow ducklings got out of the water and started to play, the ugly duckling tried to play with his brothers and sisters. Go away. We'll not play with you. You're ugly and you walk weird. When Mama Duck was close by, she would not let them talk this way. Be nice, she would scold. But she was not always close by. One day, one of the yellow ducklings said to the ugly duckling, "You know what? You would do us all a favor if you just went away." And all of them began to quack. Go, go away. Why won't they let me stay with them? Thought the ugly duckling, hanging his head low. They must be right. I should go. That night, the ugly duckling flew over the farmyard fence to the other side of the lake. There, he met two grown-up ducks. "Can I please stay here for a while?" asked the ugly duckling. "I have nowhere else to live." "What do we care?" said one of the ducks. "It's a big lake. Just don't get in our way." Woof, woof. Suddenly, a big hungry dog came tearing by, chasing the two ducks. They quickly flew up in the air, and their feathers fell down on the ground. The poor ugly duckling froze in fear. The dog sniffed and sniffed at the ugly duckling. Then it turned and walked away. "I'm too ugly, even for that mean old dog," said the ugly duckling in a sorrowful voice. The sky quickly began to turn gray. Crack! A bolt of lightning lit up the sky. Then came a big storm, with heavy rain pouring down. In just moments, the ugly duckling was soaked through and through, and a cold wind started to blow. Brrr! He held both wings close to his chest. If only there was someplace I could dry. All at once, a tiny light blinked far off in the woods. Could it be? The ugly duckling flew to the door. "Quack," said he. The door of the hut creaked open. "What is all this noise?" said an old woman, looking right and left. Her eyes were not that good, but she could hear. She looked down. A duck. She picked up the ugly duckling and dropped him inside your hut. "You might as well stay here," she said. "But mind you, I expect you to lay eggs." A tomcat and hen both crept up to the ugly duckling. "Who do you think you are?" the tomcat hissed. "Coming here and taking up room by my fire." "Squawk," said the hen. "I'm the only one around here who lays eggs. You don't know the first thing about laying eggs." "You got that right," said the ugly duckling. "I'm a boy duck." "Then why are you here?" sneered the tomcat. "Didn't you hear what the old woman said?" "Imposter! Get out of here!" yipped the hen. "Go away!" jeered the tomcat. The door was still a bit open, so the poor ugly duckling crept out the door and back into the storm. "No one will ever want me," said the ugly duckling with tears in his eyes. The storm ended. Finally, he found another lake. Looking in the water, the ugly duckling saw a reflection from above, a flock of large birds that were flying overhead above him. He turned to admire them. They were the most beautiful birds he had ever seen. Their long bodies and slender necks winged through the sky with ease and grace. He watched until every last one disappeared from view. The ugly duckling stayed at the lake as the days grew shorter. The leaves turned deep red and gold and fell to the ground. Winter came, setting its blanket of snow and ice. The cold wind blew, and the clouds darkened. He had to dive into small holes in the ice to find fish to eat. Under the ice, it was all he could do to keep paddling so the water wouldn't freeze around him, trapping him underneath the lake. But the ugly duckling became terribly tired. The ice got thicker, and the wind blew harder. In a moment, two giant hands swept him up. "You poor thing," said a farmer. He held the ugly duckling close to his thick, warm wool jacket. "You didn't fly south with the others?" The farmer was carrying somewhere. Where? The next months were lovely. Warmth from the heat of the fire and from the heart of the farmer enveloped the ugly duckling. For the rest of the winter, the farmer cared for him. And then one day, spring had sprung. Little dots of green spotted the tree branches. Short, bright flowers popped up from the ground. "It's time for you to go back to the lake to swim again, as you were born to do," said the farmer. He took the ugly duckling back to the lake, where he found him and set him on the water. "I feel good," said the young bird, flapping his wings. "Why, I don't think I've ever felt as strong as I do right now." Spring turned to summer, and the leaves started to change one by one. One day, the ugly duckling heard quiet splashing sounds behind him. He turned around. A flock of those same beautiful birds he had once seen gliding through the sky now sat on the lake. "Don't worry," said the beautiful birds, holding out its wings. "I'm leaving. I won't make trouble for you." When he happened to glance down at the lake, he saw a reflection in the water that looked like one of those beautiful birds. Why was that bird so close to him? He jumped back. The reflection jumped back too. "What is this?" he thought. Puzzled, our troubled hero stretched his neck, and strangely, the reflection of the bird on the lake stretched its neck too. "Where are you leaving so soon?" called out one of the beautiful birds. "Come back," said another. "Stay with us," said another swan. "We'll be friends." "We'll be friends." Then the bird who used to be the ugly duckling realized what had happened. He was no longer an ugly gray bird that wobbled when it walked. He'd grown into a beautiful swan, and a thought crossed his mind. "You only want me because I'm a swan and I look like you," said he. "That's not it at all," said the first one who had spoken. "We saw you all alone down here and thought you might want to join us. We don't care how birds look. Why, take a look at that pelican over there." "No one would take me for a swan," squawked the pelican. "How did you end up with them?" asked the hero, who used to be the ugly duckling. "Stayed up too late the night before," shrugged Pelican. "Slept till noon. My flock took off without me. Was sure glad the swans came by when they did. Thanks, guys," said the second swan who had spoken. "And there's Egret." "What can I tell you?" said Egret. "I love to ride those wind currents. They found my entire flock was gone. But then there was no way I could catch up. If the swans didn't come along and invite me to join them, who knows where I'd be now?" The hero, who used to be an ugly duckling, considered these stories, but was still a bit skeptical. "Winter might get a little bit cold on the lake," he said, "but no one bothers me here, and spring comes eventually." "Eventually," said the first one. "Why suffer if you don't have to? Where we fly, the sun shines hot all day long. Imagine it. Beautiful rays as far as you could see. Algae, waterside grasses, the works. I see your point, said the ugly duckling, who was no longer ugly. Besides, said the third swan, I bet you love flying farther than just this lake. We sure do. Another good point. And the duck imagined how lovely it would be to stretch out and fly. The bird who used to be an ugly duckling considered, these birds may be beautiful to look at, but they are also beautiful inside. This is the flock for me. And so, the entire flock, including their newest friend, flapped their wings together, and in one moment, the flock took off towards the clear blue sky. The end. Didn't I say it would have a happy ending? I promised you in the beginning nothing bad would happen, didn't I? And just like the endurance of our brave hero, the ugly duckling, we too can learn to endure. Whether you're going through something hard now, or maybe you've just gotten over something very difficult, you are so strong, so much stronger than you think, and you can do hard things. So please don't give up and keep going, because even when we don't recognize ourselves in this moment, we will always find our beautiful tomorrow. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking and subscribing and hitting the notification bell. I hope you have a good evening. Goodbye. Goodbye.